All right, folks, I am Tom Downey. That is Mitchell Renz. Got some news tonight, maybe not the most surprising news. Freddie Kitchens, he's out as the Cleveland Browns head coach. He goes one and done. I would say justifiably so. And now, you've heard this refrain quite a bit, Cleveland Browns are looking for a new head coach. An embarrassing loss, frankly, against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was always kind of a gamble of a hire. They thought Kitchens worked really well with Baker Mayfield.
Couldn't handle the heat, Tom.
Set him right up for that one right there. Boomer bust hire, but didn't have very much experience there, and he was a bust. And I give Cleveland credit for moving on quickly. It was very clear that he was outmatched, Mitch.
And it's also clear that the players didn't really want him. I thought it was funny today after the game. Jarvis Landry was asked, "What's your take on Freddie Kitchens?"
Yeah, they didn't really.
A normal player would say, "No, I want to keep my coach." I feel like he goes, "Not my call." And the way he said it was just like, dude's getting fired.
Flippity and like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that anymore.
But I mean, you have a lot of talent on this team. Like, talent is not lacking on this Cleveland Browns team. I think it's just finding a coach that could get everything working together. I think too often.
You need better leadership.
Far too often we forget that football is a team sport. And I think when you go back and you look at the Cleveland Browns last 5 years, they need somebody who can be a leader on this team and who can get some, I don't know, you got to get everyone on the same system.
Maximize your players'
I almost feel like the
talents.
Browns try to do what the NBA has always done. Oh, you can put superstars on one team and it'll work.
It's fair.
I actually kind of like the fact that the Browns didn't play well this year, because then I think you would see a little bit less of that going on. But after a 2019 season,
talent.
What?
You're always going to try and acquire talent there.
Yeah, but didn't really work. 6-10. So let's get in now to our Browns head coach candidates. Number 12, we got Lincoln Riley, and this one is obvious because of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, that's the connection. I'm sure there are Browns fans that want it. And even though Oklahoma got their butts kicked by LSU, the NFL still really likes Lincoln Riley because, fun fact, you tend to take the previous 35, 40 game sample size as opposed to just the one most recent one, even if it does carry a little bit more weight. I don't think Riley wants to go to Cleveland, though, because why would you?
I think Oklahoma's
yes,
a better
you get
job.
Baker. Yeah, and frankly,
it's a better job.
The college jobs are better than a lot of these NFL jobs. So Riley, a fun name, but don't get your hopes up.
Let's go to number 17, a coach that you're seeing in tonight's live Seahawks game, Robert Saleh.
Yeah, Saleh has done a really good job with San Francisco. He's gone from he's on the hot seat to, okay, maybe we want to bring him in. I don't know if he makes as much sense for Cleveland because I think they need a little bit more of a veteran presence in terms of the coaching ranks. It's not really his fit.
Number 10, we got Don Martindale, or Wink.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about him at all in any of our previous shows as a head coaching candidate, but I think he should be. I don't know if this is the year he gets a job. He might end up just sticking around for another year or two, but for Martindale, has done a great job as the Ravens DC, and you get a little bonus here of the Browns hurting the Ravens in the process.
Gotcha. So we got 10 is Don Martindale, who is under the radar, and he is the DC of the Baltimore Ravens. Who will be the next Browns head coach? We want you to throw it in the comments section. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might get hit with an ad break. We're going to make this our pinned comment. So while that you're getting hit with that ad break, why don't you scroll on down and comment who will be the next Browns head coach. Number 9, Tom, Eric Bieniemy.
Another interesting idea here, and I think maybe you worry too much about this being another type of Freddie Kitchens. Obviously, Bieniemy comes from a much better coaching tree, but he's not the play caller in Kansas City. That's still Andy Reid. He interviewed for a bunch of head coaching jobs last year.
A bunch.
4 of them to be exact there, and that's just the pure numbers behind it all. But I think Bieniemy could be a good fit, and I'll make note of it because it's how NFL teams operate. Interviewing Bieniemy would also satisfy the Rooney Rule, so he'll get plenty of interviews again this season as one of the top minority head coaching candidates in the NFL.
Coach number 8, I don't know if this guy will get a shot because of what happened before, but it's Josh McDaniels. He's number 8 on our list. I don't know. He's a smart-minded coach, but I also don't know if he's cut out to be a head coach. I'll make that argument.
I think he can be a head coach, but you also don't want to give him too much power. I think that was the issue in Denver. First-time head coach had a ton of player personnel input and ended up not working out very well. I don't know if Dorsey wants to go with McDaniels. I know this was linked last year, but he didn't interview last time and wasn't even a candidate. Maybe that changes this time. I'm sure he'll be linked because it was linked last time as by not being a candidate. I put him at 8. I don't think he's going to be one of the main targets, but maybe the Browns want to totally go in a different direction than what they did last year in their head coaching search.
I'll tell you what, Tom, I wish I would have went in a different direction. Betting on the Browns on Bet DSI, but luckily we got that deposit bonus, 120%, because when you use promo code NFL120 at BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet, you're going to get 120% deposit bonus. So when you put down $50, you get $60 for free. You put down $100, you get $120 for free. So if you make a dumb bet like the Browns winning the AFC North, because you're confident because they made a lot of good moves in the offseason, BetDSI, they got your back. But seriously, go bet on NFL games, college football, NBA, everything at BetDSI. Let's go to number 7. I like this guy. He kind of rules. Matt Rhule. He's improved. Hey,
so
he's shown a lot of improvement for Baylor. And who the heck is
Baylor? I'm making fun
Baylor?
of your pun, not having interest in Matt Rhule. He's going to have a lot of NFL teams calling about him. Carolina Panthers are chief among them right now. If the Giants' job and Pat Shermer gets fired opens up, I think he'll be a candidate there. If the Browns should have interest there, I think what Cleveland needs right now is they kind of need a bit of a new culture.
Yep.
They had normally to see a team disappoint by that much, there's some cancer in that locker room, be it from a coaching, a player, or just general attitude perspective. Matt Rhule came into a really bad situation at Baylor. There was a lot of cancer within that organization and within that program. He comes in, and he fixed it like that. Now, it's going to be a little bit harder in the NFL, I think, than at Baylor, but if I'm Cleveland, and if I have a job open in general, I'm calling about Matt Rhule to see if that's a route I can end up going.
Number 6 on our list, I think, is a name that we always talk about when we do these hot coaching boards. It's Matt Campbell, Iowa State.
Yes.
Am I the only one that thinks that this guy's a little bit overrated?
Oh, he signed his extension there. So producer Brett is very much on board with you, by the way.
Thank you. I think he's so overrated.
He might be. But it's funny to me of how we've gone from, ooh, hey, we should try and get Matt Campbell. Last year, he kind of did the exact same thing this season.
They always stink at the beginning of the year, and then they play well in November.
Yeah. So, like, I think for Campbell, because he's an Ohio native, wanted that Ohio State job, it makes a little bit more sense there. Yeah. It makes a little bit more sense as a possible fit for the Cleveland Browns. It's not the route I would go. I know he signed the extension. NFL money's different. They can afford it. It'll be fine. But I think in terms of better coaching, Matt Rhule's the better Big 12 coach.
Okay.
But I wonder if maybe Matt Campbell makes a little bit more sense because of the localness for the Cleveland Browns. I think they could do a little bit better, though, in the end, and they'll end up being okay.
All right. I know number 5, Tom, might make you giggle a little bit. Or heck, you may just start breaking out into a clap. I'm not sure. Number 5 on our list, Jason Garrett.
In all honesty,
about to say former head coach.
This would be an upgrade for the Cleveland Browns. I know it's not a pretty hire. It's decidedly unsexy, but Garrett did a good job before this year of managing the variety of personalities in that Cowboys locker room.
You're the first person to ever call Jason Garrett unsexy.
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding. Look at him.
What are you talking about? Anyway, he grew up outside of Cleveland, and he brings experience. And I think for the Cleveland Browns with this particular hire, you tried the gamble. Maybe this time around you look for some more experience, be it at the NFL or at the college level. It's not pretty, I know. Garrett's probably going to get interviews this year. Just keep that in mind, guys.
That's a fun world we live in. Let's go to number 4 on our list for Browns head coaching candidates, Mike McCarthy. Another coach who does have some experience, but another coach to me who I think is greatly overrated. He interviewed for the Browns and Jets last year, so I understand the Browns connection.
He didn't do the interview very well, I don't think.
Well, I mean, to me, though, he is a coach who I do not see being a very good head coach. And when you look at just his last 5 years, Tom, I think the NFL figured out the Mike McCarthy offense a little bit. I really do.
Yes.
He trusted Aaron Rodgers to just do everything.
I think McCarthy, at least in what he said in the media, is saying all the right things about that. Like, yeah, we got a little stale. We stopped the motion kind of stuff. You know, he's talking about how he's looked around at teams and their analytics. So he's saying all the things NFL franchise organizations want to have. I am just curious to see if the Browns will go back down that well. I think they clearly should have hired him because he would have been better than Freddie Kitchens. So it's still an upgrade there. And there is still the front office connection with McCarthy and several others in that organization.
Number 3 on our list for Browns, Freddie Kitchens replacements. The Vikings offensive coordinator, Kevin Stefanski.
First year as the Vikings full-time OC, was kind of the part-time guy last year. He was a finalist for the Browns job. And I am very curious to see what happens with John Dorsey. If the Browns kind of pivot back to going with a little bit more of an analytics mindset, way back when, they wanted Sean McDermott. The analytics department in Cleveland wanted McDermott. They did not, of course, get their way. They wish they had. Last year, they pushed for Stefanski over Freddie Kitchens. I think they wish they had their way that time. So I am curious to see if the Browns go back to this. He was a finalist last year and has done nothing to hurt his stock, unlike, say, the other Vikings OC from last year, John DeFilippo. Stefanski, I think, could be a sleeper for a couple of different jobs around the NFL.
Now, I got a question for everyone watching right now because I need to know this so I can go to Bet the SI and put my money where my mouth is. So we want you to fill in the blank right now. The Browns will make the playoffs in 2020, 2021.
2020, let's double down, baby.
2022.
Might as well keep digging the hole.
They haven't made the playoffs since 2002. 2002. That is a long, long time ago. So the Browns, they will make the playoffs in, if you're thinking that it's 2020 in that blank, this is where you got to go. Bet the SI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Chatsports.com/bet is the link you got to go to. I'll say it again because you have to go to chatsports.com/bet. And you also got to use that promo code NFL120. That gets you 120% deposit bonus. And you put down 50, you get 60 for free. And if you like to roll the dice like our next candidate, Bet the SI is the place for you. Riverboat Ron. Ron Rivera. Okay. He is still Riverboat Ron.
No, he's not. He is a conservative coach.
No, he's not. He had Kyle Allen. That's
but even with Cam Newton, like he had that one little stretch of being super conservative, but he wasn't actually a super aggressive coach. Now, I don't think Rivera's the right fit for every job out there. I think the Browns would be a good fit because I think what they need right now is experience and a bit firmer personality and better leadership. I think Ron fits that really well.
Totally agree.
And
players coach.
The Redskins are hot after Rivera right now as well. I wonder if the Browns are like, okay, let's try and get back in this game and in terms of the coaching search game and see, hey, maybe we try and get Ron Rivera in for an interview, hold him off in that job just a little bit, unless the Redskins move quickly here.
I think Ron Rivera is so far, my favorite head coach that we've seen. But the #1 coach, Tom, that we have on our list, oh boy, Urban Meyer. Sell it to me.
I am very curious before I sell it to you. I'm very curious to see what because the sale is pretty straightforward, frankly, to see what Meyer actually does. He expressed that interest kind of sort of in that Fox radio interview where he's like, the Cowboys called, yeah, I would have had interest, but he was talking past tense the entire time while talking about Lincoln Riley, and he's told others that he doesn't miss coaching and doesn't plan on coming back, and he's been consulting with college teams and some buzz he's been with NFL teams as well. But remember, the Cleveland Browns several years ago, they tried to lure Urban Meyer to Ohio State. Now, he chose to stay. The Browns had interest. They tried to get him. Now he's available. The Ohio State guy gets to go to the Cleveland Browns, has Baker Mayfield. I think it's worth trying, and as for the sell, look at what he does.
He wins.
Everywhere Urban Meyer goes, he wins. And I know he doesn't have NFL head coach experience, but, I mean, he's dealt with some pretty outlandish personalities. I mean, think back to those Florida teams. Yeah, you had Tebow, but you also had Percy Harvin and Aaron Hernandez. So he can. That's going to be a cakewalk compared to OBJ. Like, he'll be fine with OBJ and Landry. Like, that's not a big concern there. My biggest red flag is the medical. Because it's either two explanations, right? He has left Florida and Ohio State with medical issues. That's two of the best jobs in football. That's a big red flag. Or the medical issues were made up, and he left two jobs when the going got tough. I don't know if that's the guy I want as my leader either. So I don't know what ends up happening to Meyer. We might look back in a month or whenever and say, wow, Meyer shouldn't have been on this list at all. But I think he makes sense for Cleveland in the end. And if they can go get him, I think you should at least try it.
So we asked you guys this question during our pinned comment read, and now we're going to do it again here. Who will be the Browns' next head coach? We gave you our top 12 candidates to replace Freddie Kitchens because it got hot and he had to get going. So everyone who's watching right now, who will be the Browns' next head coach? We want you to throw it in the comments section. I love